inside, trying to get your attention. You make me nervous. In the corner of my best friend's sofa, you were getting buzzed on rum and cola. Wasn't brave enough yet just to talk to you. Not a smooth talker under pressure. Sweaty palms ain't making it much better. Something about you feels so special. Pretty open from the minute that I met you.
Finals day is getting spicy here at the Tom's Tournament 2024. Myself, Hannah Pendlebury, alongside Christina Obermeyer, but it's all about the teams on the pitch. We have a rematch from the European Finals EUC last season. It's Great Britain in the blue jerseys, tussling against their eventual victors of last season, Germany women. Of course, GB, the reigning champions here on the fields in Bruges. But what do you think about this matchup, Christina?
It's going to be really exciting. We can especially see that rematch as who worked better or more efficiently over the course of the winter, and to see really where, like, it's a really good first look to see where both these teams are early in their preparation for Worlds. I think we've had great showings of both of these sides. Not everyone playing every game, especially for Germany. We're going to see some people that have managed their body pretty well, but they're going to play this final game of the tournament together.
Well, talking of managing bodies, though, the GB are missing a few key pieces of the puzzle due to injury, and Germany women had an unfortunate knee injury yesterday in their late game slot, so they are missing one piece of their puzzle. But Livka Volchak is going to open up a big backhand, but Kate Gibson seems to be on the receiving end of it. No one else anywhere, and an early doors turnover gives GB a ripe opportunity.
A miscommunication with Liebert, who has also not been playing every game.
So Izzy Collins on the chase, Simone Liebert there, but cannot prevent it. Charles now just shepherding in the end zone. Collins going to need some kind of reset soon, has one for Hill. We see that bun on top just jump back up as she watches the disc all the way into her hands. Gibson now. Inside, saucy break to Hill. Doesn't really have the continuation timing for the backhand around shot, but there goes Payne. Layout, but does not collect.
Yeah, that shot had to be so far out in front because, and again, it was in pursuit, but still maybe too much under that, especially after a 3-day tournament.
Well, thus far, almost exactly the same as we had in the previous matchup between these two teams. In that final, there was a turnover each in the opening point as we see Garnier gunning down that far sideline. GB were running a drill before this game, talking about how the Germans like to move in the reset space and use those give-goes. Exactly like that. Post through to Livka Volchak. Now Garnier has the World Games teammate Simone Liebert well shut down and handled. Now it's Volchak slashing across to Charlotte Schall. Next bad skid play. High dish for Anna Garnier. No pick calls, just rips the space open, and that's the first on the board for Germany.
Such great movement from Germany. Garnier really manipulating her matchup, her defensive matchup there. Stopping for a second, and Schall knowing exactly what she wanted. Super important that Sophie Rumpelt now moves back and behind to open up the space for Garnier. So not a clean hold, but a hold nonetheless for Germany.
As long as you put your offense in, even if it takes 11 passes, it's fine. But great defensive play from GB. The just straight up throw to no one really from the German O-line to start with, and Kate Gibson, who has been playing absolute scorchers as per usual. Really marshalling the show for GB's defense. We're bringing you stats from our previous final. We'll get our technology all sorted. But looking at our first D-line outing, Inge Nachis getting ready with the pole. Of course, the last time these two teams met also, it was a defensive break that took the win. GB controversially choosing defense. Although perhaps a strategy they may have backed. Beautiful conditions out here though for a game of ultimate. Slightly too hot perhaps for some of these Northern European athletes. A hide there, punching the disc back to Hannah Brute. One of course two captains on this GB side. Caudron now, who was vibing earlier with the sideline music. Really enjoying herself from the Reading Ultimate player. Symington now connects with Van Sale. Back to Caudron. Van Sale, low for Symington. Launches it for Oldfield. It's going to sit and hang, but what a beautiful execution of that throw by Marina Symington, making that Oldfield's job as easy as it can be.
So interesting setup for JB. Three handlers back, something we don't usually see that as much anymore than working from a horizontal stack setup. Kind of always opening up the middle. And then going far and around and really catching the German defense on the wrong foot. Uncontested deep shot for a clean hold for GB to start.
So see Karen Kwok readying for the pull. Let's get another look at the assister. Marina Symington. Just a gentle breeze, keeping some of the heat of the day off of these players. See the back of Hannah Yorworth there. Really, really useful weapon to have on the GB O-line. Of course, got a gold medal with deep space last year as well, recovering from a knee injury. But she expects to be back. So Garnier to Volchuk. Has a potential underneath, but goes the swiping arm of Emma Klima.
Some of the handlers already wanted to move up there for Germany, but the continuation into the middle, open in the exact same moment where Garnier already wanted to move on.
Well, seems like GB have got Germany's number at the moment. Karen Kwok with a feisty fake. We're going to have to take something a little more simple. High release backhand, big effort from Garnier, but cannot stop Emma Klima. Few can. Now round to Smith. Inside shot, taken away. Garnier, so good at getting the disc back when there's a turnover for this German line. On our previous live stream game featuring them against Bristol women, she had quite a few, but Schall unable to connect with the layout bid.
Herkens with the inside shot, and Schall not quite there, jumped very early, but the disc got away from her.
Gibson going for a bit of point and shoot, but again it's the German.
And I tell you what, that disc just hit the hat of Eurowith.
So Garnier now looking for an option. Smooth and moving across. Charles taking the battle match up with Izzy Collins. Oh, and it just slipped through the fingers of Lev Kowalczyk.
The German O-line really does not seem to be dialed in for the start of that game.
No, it's a very soggy start. Almost as soggy as the pitches were on Friday afternoon. So we had very different conditions for playing Ultimate in that moment. But this is really good, close handler coverage for the German defenders. Schluter matching up with Thacker. Stall count starting to rise. Might just have to chuck it and see. Big high release backhand, and it's Gibson in the end zone for Great Britain. They take an early doors break, 2-1.
I'm astonished by the way the Germans are playing this right now. They seem really stressed, or GB can just push them and close out the open spaces and really like take everything away, every first look. I bet Germany will have to regroup and create something different in offense, and maybe find that trust again, because some of those shots were really just 50-50 balls, and that's not Germany women as we've seen it last year.
Or maybe doing some early season experimentation. It's entirely possible. It's certainly the right time of the year to do it.
Well, they actually did do that early in the tournament, letting the offense play defense point and the defense play offense points, but they actually switched that back.
Wow, you might get too used to it otherwise. But no, it's really all credit to Great Britain's defense at the moment. It was them who took first break, but only in the second half in that final. But this final, they have the upper hand. They know how to win a Tom's Tourney. They've done it before, celebrating their victory yesterday evening with some waffles and trying to clamp a hot iron down on this German offense. Charles now. Up line. Schluter. Into Garnier.
It was all alone.
Big, high, arcing backhand. Volchak underneath it. Payne can't quite deny the goal for that number 42, and that will be enough to stop a roll of breaks for GB.
Indeed. So Gibson matching up with Garnier, and Garnier going deep, and Gibson staying in that deep space to prevent the huck going out immediately, but Garnier saw that and recognized it and waited so long for Gibson to put out the mark, and in that moment she threw the huck deep to Walczak.
So 2 apiece in this women's final at Tom's Tourney. Beautiful scenes, lots of players now finished for their weekend. Of course, they're 3-day. It's a long weekend tournament, and I have to say, Christina, I'm very appreciative that Tom's Tourney is a 3-day format. Not only do we get to cover more games, but you just get to enjoy being in Bruges more.
Indeed. Of course, many of the players on the field and at this tournament are going to stay in Belgium or come back for next year's Elite invite, as it is in Leuven. It's only a 2-hour drive.
Yeah, we'll be there. ULTI.TV will be bringing you that action. Very excited to do so as well. They always put on a wonderful tournament over in Leuven. So, Great Britain going to work on offence. A little bit low, but well handled by Van Sale. Quadrant grinding through. Gets the match up from Fowler. That one a little low, but all good and fine. Trying to squeeze that one through. Stall out being called.
It's going to be a discussion about that.
Well, Verena Volleson, we did not see much of at all in the previous game for Germany, so presumably being rested.
Yeah, one of the players who managed her games and only played parts of games or 1 or 2 games a day.
So we're going to get a contested stall out starting on 8. So Oldfield's going to have to just chuck it down. Does have Hannah Thompson easily. Oh, we love the hammer. Perfect conditions for it. A great celebration from Avril Hunter.
Such a nice way to get out of that stressful situation of the near stall out and then the hammer over the top. Especially with a big mark like Nayas, who could probably hand block a hammer even. So what the coach is saying on the sideline is we have to mark different. We have to be there on defense in between. Gotta get in between, because that's too easy for them. And to be fair, it was rather easy. I mean, getting a stall out, even if it's a contest, it means that defense did something right. But still, having those easy reset shots up the line, then.
Well, I would say it's it was a bit of footwork required for Hannah Thompson to bring that one in. She was about a hair's breadth from being out of bounds when she eventually made that reception, and a little bit more pressure. But that's the whole thing, just creating consistent pressure across a game. Although these ones not particularly long. We've already had almost a quarter of the time expire. Great Britain up that one break. Humpelt now has Herkens flashing in front. Herkens, one of 2 national team siblings for Germany. Real family affair, to be honest. A lot of these national players. Big effort from Ellie Payne. Comes up empty-handed though. Liebelt now finding Levke. Volchuk puts that one around into space. A little bit low for Charles, but all fine. Just looking for these give-goes, but the switching from GB, there's a little bit of stifling action, but eventually Levke Volchak breaks free to the end zone, and a little butt spike for your celebration.
That's the kind of offense Germany is used to playing and we're used to seeing from them. Schall and Volchak really working in the handler set, giving and going. It looks so easy when they do it, but really isolating people and not picking and not having defenders in out of place where they shouldn't be and making some help defense, but rather like really controlled structure. So 3-3, all tied up with the break advantage for GB.
You can just see all of the players taking the lines. I have to say, both of these national teams, well, all of the national teams we've had on our live stream, do take quite a long time in between points. We don't have anyone doing the whistle blowing. But sometimes it does seem a little bit drawn out. But of course, very few tournaments have enough volunteers to have people doing the timing whistle blowing. But we are grateful to have such a wonderful crew hosting us here in Bruges. So GB on offense, Avril Hunter immediately out of the blocks and racing off to the deep space. Thompson is there. Bigelbuck on the matchup. That one's corkscrewing across. Tessa Hunt jumping up and snatching it. Delicate fingers, a violinist by trade, but big backhand release. Hunter underneath it, just shy of the goal line. It's a lovely boost from Thompson. And the dish behind, a misconnection between Hunt and Hunter.
Hunt was already so far gone. I might have missed some part of communication, but that disc just maybe dropped out of the hands of Hunter. Germany with a break chance. High disc for Nayas, but the defense behind her, and Brew picks up quickly.
Thompson. High for Symington. Bobbles off. Foul is going to be called. We'll have a chat with Inga Spanit.
So do you think it's a foul on the second attempt, where there was contact in between, and Spanit just asked, did you think you would have had it?
Well, let's take another look.
So that's the second attempt. She bobbles it. There's contact. She tries, and then...
Well, it's accepted on the field. So Symington will retain possession. Spanner going for the foot block. Big race up pitch. Shock versus Cauldron. That's going to be Tessa Hunt underneath it, battling. Don't think she quite makes it. No, just a little bit too much boost, but a lovely grab nonetheless.
Great to see Wagner back on the field. Also has been resting her body every now and then, recovering from an injury and coaching last year. Now an active part of the roster again.
Germany really rather compressed in the near space to the Frisbee. Bit of poaching around the handler space for Great Britain. It's not true zone, but just sagging into the lanes, trying to cause confusion and combobulate things. Wagner, such a wise athlete. Was that one backwards? Müller, straight back to Wagner. Has Schuck upfield.
So much touch on that throw for Schuck.
Schuck puts back. That one, oh, just about caught by Marika Foster. Now Nahius. Bit of a bump, but one seems fine. Love that lefty flick, so beautiful for Müller. Oh, and a casual rolling inside shot. Very, very difficult to execute that one, but it will work out for the Germans, and we're back on serve.
Germany women break back, and Wagner really getting every other on that offensive possession. And so I'm so impressed with her throwing skills. I haven't really seen a lot of her lately because she has been taking care of her body, but the touch on the throws every now and again, and really directing traffic with them as well. And we'll see that shot. It's always like, it's a mixture between a high release flick and an inside shot, and the perfect tempo to just hit Foster in the chest.
The only higher level of difficulty to execute that particular option would be the high release inside out flick, so really dropping that edge. But 4-3, Germany women in charge, having started the game on offense, and both teams snatching themselves some breaks. Germany doing it with one turnover. GB boosting it, Thacker in acres of room, and just like the finishing point that put them into this final, Alex Thacker, the deep space player, snags a dish.
Hill in so much room to wind up that backhand, but not really believing the 3-person deep. that put just sits perfectly. Swayed it into the end zone.
Thak is just a little ninja athlete. She just puts on the cloak of invisibility and avails herself, whips it off as she streaks towards the end zone.
Gevich was there, actually. Just wouldn't have thought that this would still get up, because even though it worked out, and I'm not criticizing this particular throw, usually these deep cuts are best if taken from a very shallow position, so it was thrown very late in her pursuit deep.
So all on the level at the moment. Both teams generating turnovers. But Germany women back out on offense. Von Stebut. Lovely footwork from Ellie Payne to make Anna Garnier take negative yards ever so slightly. Now to Herkens. Inside to Rumpelt. Rosa Herkens surveying her options upfield. Stack relatively far away. Volchak now. Has Garnier. Well defended by Gibson. Now it's back to Herkens. Really, really good pressure from GB's match coverage.
I think they're playing forced middle.
Volchak on the far side now. Rumpelt's going to go for it. The release comes a little bit late. Rumpelt had stopped her cut, but she might just make up the ground. No bid available. But she's stopped cutting with all the fakes coming out of Levka Volchak.
I'm going to say the thing that I said in between those points again. That was a very deep cut already to still throw the huck. I would have loved to see Rumpelt come under and someone else striking deep from a more shallow position.
Well, another opportunity for Great Britain. Germany's O-line have only had 2 perfect conversions so far this game versus 3 for GB. So GB women haven't recovered any of their turnovers. But Gibson looking to the sky. Volchak has eyes for it, gets too hungry though. And Karen Kwok will exploit it with Ellie Payne. Now Alex Benedict. Oh, that's a big looping flick that's going to be just out of bounds into the crowd of shirtless men.
Not spilling any beer.
Cheers. Always those look suspiciously Italian. So GB missed the opportunity to take a clean break. Von Stebut, the Jinx Berliner player, pops back to fellow Jinx athlete Garnier. Volchak actually also playing the European club scene with the Berlin side. Jinx Midnight. Benedict goes for it, lays out and manages to close the door for Rumpelt. Hill swings across. Smith being denied, but it's going to be a layout bid for Ellie Payne. She's all over the turf today.
That closing speed out of Payne, really closing the gap, but not quite there.
Yeah, Payne, one of the OG Spice athletes. Oh, big old foot block there for Hannah Smith.
What a crazy game. Defensively for GB, they really stepped it up a notch from what we've seen yesterday.
Hill and have immediate options for Klima, but it's Gibson with the around. Payne with a drop. That one was shot basically at her shins. Those two playing together on that aforementioned club team. Spice women's team formed out of the under-24s programme. Some players that really just loved chasing some plastic with each other. Payne now, of course, though, playing for Women's Club Bristol, having relocated to the area. Humpelt in the centre, though, all alone, plenty of acreage. That's got a bit of loft underneath it, but Schluter free. On Stable with a shimmy shake. Now back to Schluter. Volchak. Stack starting to feel the burn a little bit. Things just softening up. Volchak clearly frustrated not to have any breakside continuation to throw a dicey around to. Volchak. There's the continuation to the breakside. Rosa Herkens just flashing from the front of the stack, and that is a lovely bit of offence to finalise what became quite a drawn-out point there, Christina.
Indeed, we're nearly at halfway in terms of time. 28 minutes played already, and we're only at 5-4 in favour of GB. We've seen that yesterday. 5-4 in favour of Germany. We've seen that yesterday where the German handler set is so good at moving the disc from one side to the other and really, like, not stressed that much, but when connecting with the cutters downfield, they struggle a bit every now and then, and we've seen that here again where Livka Volchak did it in front of the ends. A bit of frustration because it wasn't a continuation in time. A poach block because Rumpelt was a bit too close to the handler set, and her defender could poach off inside. So these are early season tweaks that Germany will have to work out.
Well, I mean, technically they don't have to. If they didn't want to go and podium at the world level. But of course, with a gold medal around your neck from last season, there are high hopes for both of these programmes. Later on in Australia at the Gold Coast, they will both be going.
Well, I'm pretty sure they want to strive for perfection on their O-line.
Oh, absolutely. It's not necessary, but it's definitely very important. GB catching high for Symington. Now Oldfield. Hunt goes with one hand and makes the drop. And immediately, Wagner getting us underway. Nayes. Launching one. Oh, that's a really lovely idea. And Spanner, as always, with a hand, throwing a spanner in the works of GB's hopes of keeping their title here at Tom's. That's a second break for Germany women. 6-4.
See that replay of it again, Nayes. Seeing Spanut with some separation. And she'll getting there as well, but maybe not expecting Spanut to be in such good position. And tries to jump early, but it's too late and misread the disc maybe a little bit.
So Inga Spanut snagging a stat for the break. Really just a very reliable pair of hands. I mean, I don't want to commentators curse her, but I haven't seen her drop a frisbee on a pitch that I remember. Just that error from GB, giving Germany a little room to wiggle away. And these games are brutally short. We've just had half of the time expire. Under the hot sun here in Bruges. Didn't think I'd be saying that on Friday. Well, there's still some puddles hereabouts, and you'll notice some of the athletes stumbling a little bit on these fields. They've been churned and chopped to shreds. Although not quite as bad as we have seen occasionally here in Bruges. So, a clear and slash play. Solid standard stuff. Van Sale on the far sideline is going to launch it for Oldfield. Big pressure from Flora Scala, but doesn't quite manage to snag the disc away. Now everybody going up line. Hannah Brew just pops over for what is eventually an easy goal, but they had to wait for it. But great milking from the captain.
A good pressure from Germany. Coming out on defense again. Just these catches under pressure that you only get from playing such tight games and finals sometimes, because it always is a bit of a different feeling to play in a final. And it does seem like GB are calling a timeout here.
Well, as they call a timeout, we will take a break here in the booth, though. Do not go anywhere, folks. This game will continue.
We live in a world where everything can be referenced online. Imagine if the greatest moments in our sport were never filmed. Eurodisc continues to do what it takes to make free-to-watch live streams a reality. Let's leave nothing to the imagination. We'll consume the action live, and we'll support those that help to make it happen. If it wasn't streamed, it didn't happen. Eurodisc.
What a grab! Oh my! Somehow they do it!
Women's division final here at Tom's Tourney 2024. Myself, Hannah Pendlebury, alongside Christina Obermeyer in the booth, and we are delighted to be joined by so many of you watching along live. If you're enjoying the coverage here, why not get yourself involved in the live chat? You have to be a subscriber to do so, but that never hurt anybody, so I hear. I think I've got a Steph Rapazzo guarantee that subscribing to ULTI.TV never hurt anybody.
Yeah, I mean, subscribing to more free Frisbee? Who wouldn't like that?
Exactly. But it is a delight to have you alongside us, and feel free to also give a like, hit that thumbs up button, and help more people see via the almighty algorithms of YouTube this game between these talented athletes. So, Germany women coming back out on offense. They have been very short of picture perfect so far in this game. Charles finding Simone Liebert underneath.
Of course, it's a half at 7, and if Germany hold here, they close out the half with a 2-point lead.
Indeed. Volchak's walkout starting to rise, but Charles plunging forth. Of course, European Player of the Year in the women's division was Charlotte Charles. I don't think she left the final game for the under-24s team at Nottingham a single moment. Taking that bronze medal, of course, and then adding the gold to her collection 2 times. A UCF and a UC. And there's the score. Charles to Garnier on the far side.
Again, great flow, and what we're used to seeing from the German offense. Charles wasn't on the last offensive point, but now she is here, and you can see how this really makes a difference. It makes a difference to have her on.
Yeah, just looking at that replay, the lovely high release, roll curve backhand from Volchak to get us started. And then it's breaks, breaks, breaks for days. We've got a score prediction from Advanced Ultimate Coaching. Of course, Conor McHale in the chat. Says he reckons this one will go in favour of GB 10-9. What's your take, Christina?
He's a coach. I value his opinion.
Well, we will take a look at the highlights from the first half, the Tourney highlight reel, and summarise exactly what's gone on so far in this matchup.
Come on, break!
well, don't be fooled by the fact that we're under the shade and in many layers. It is heating up here in this women's division final between Germany and GB. So let's have a look at some of the scintillating highlights so far. So GB starting off, taking those early breaks, but that's a big snatch from Anna Garnier to get possession back off of that inside shot taken by Hannah Smith. You're not a really big fan of those inside shots, are you, Christina?
I'm really not. I'm always more of a fan of the around, but you see her in a round, got foot blocked.
Absolutely. Smith's not the largest female matching athlete you'll see in the women's division up in Australia, but she's definitely one of the bigger ones, got a big old frame to use and did to dynamic effect. But we're going to go back to the game now because the second half is getting underway. So GB now starting the second half on offense, of course, hoping to have put themselves in charge. So they'll get one here. Hunter high. Big block, though, from Flora Scala, the former Austrian.
Well, she's still Austrian.
Well, she is, yeah.
But she's got to make that clear. She still is Austrian.
She's one of yours. But, of course, playing for this German national team for a little while now, Nahis. Oh, absolutely boosts it. And Scala with the bookends going to the turf just to make sure. And that's a break coming into the second half for Germany women. 8-5.
8-5 lead. And although I value Connor's opinion in many parts of life, this particular game might not be one where he knows it all, because 9-10 right now doesn't sound very convincing to me. And Flora Scala, of course, moving over to the German national team from playing with the Austrian national team last year, because Austria is not sending a female team, women's team, to Australia. Of course, she's also living in Berlin, has been for the last 5 years, which makes her eligible for the German national team. Also a player on Jinx.
So we've had a question in the chat with the biggest sad face we've seen in a little while, and it would indeed be sad if that was the case. But Rachel Naden, one of the other captains of this GB side, is not absent due to injury. She's just not feeling very well, so it's not a long-term thing to having to recover from. She's just taking a leadership role from the sidelines, and by Jove, that is someone you do want to have with your clipboard in hand, alongside the coaches, of course, Alex Mazin and Tom Mannings. But there are a couple of players that aren't on the pitch, but we'll focus on the ones that are. Izzy Collins right now, really ascending. Been talking about her sister Tash for a long time, but those two now tussling for which is the better Collins sister. But that's a nice find on the far sideline with Payne. Hill streaking towards that line space. Thacker coming underneath. That's very high, but well handled by Izzy Collins. What a ripper. Pops through to Thacker. Now Benedict, the Canadian vet. Hill. Around that one, takes it out of the sky. Hannah Smith once again using her length. Payne gives the dish to Hill. And you might hear a little bit of the Tannoy system. But that is not for this game. Sweet little lies indeed from Fleetwood Mac. The time has not expired yet in this final, which has a slightly offset time. Hill to Benedict, who makes the layout and holds on. Hammer to go over the pack, but a big drop from Alex Thacker. Just celebrating the goal before she had it completely secured.
The layout by Alex Benedict, shaking out her hand for a second to make it loose, putting that hammer out there, which was a beautiful shot. You can see the little shake, then the hammer, and Thacker just stone cold, dropping the disc. Not ideal for GB. We already saw the players readying to jump onto the field and celebrate, but instead they have to play defense.
So Marlene Namula Starting that off. Wagner, considering it, has Schuck just about escapes from the attack of Alex Thacker. That gold medalist from last season with deep space. Wagner again, just marshalling Wollesen now. Pops through to Wagner. Oh, and a lovely dish. Lots of momentum in stride. Germany women now blazing into this second half. That's another break. 3 on the bounce for Team Germany.
Mona Scheck really commanding this offense with getting every other and really seeing the open spaces and positioning herself so well to know that Wagner can put that disc in there and slice it through with an inside shot. It really does look like Germany have found their groove in the late stages of this final, and I don't know, with that kind of momentum and energy, they're going to be very hard to stop.
Yeah, GB seem to have come out and really had an answer for every question that the German offense posed, but I suppose it's a thing of the connections between the best players on the German O-line really are just so well honed that they just have managed to figure something else different out. They're like, okay, well, they're doing switching, they're doing poaching in the lanes, they're sagging. The adjustments that they're making on offense of just really being patient and grinding these points through has been very impressive, because it would have been very easy to sort of let the heads hang down and not really remember, wait, hold on. We've seen this team before and they're very good, but we were better last time. But GB starting to get a little rolled here. Just need to punch one in to steady the ship. So around to Oldfield. Inside, but that one just going to hit the deck. Hit the duck. There's no ducks on this pitch. There is a puddle in the back end zone though. Charles playing a little bit of cheeky crossover, coming to the D-line. Scheck. Thinking about it. But everyone's sort of starting to trot to a slow. But Charles started playing her ultimate with bad skid in the open division, but that one is a break side shot for Marlene Muller and a little pointy toe drag swag just to secure the goal. So Germany women ripping this game open, 10-5.
They're just, as I already mentioned, the momentum and everything, the energy is all with the German offense here. And Charles stepping out beautifully in one of those inside movements that she's known for so well. Everything she does just looks so easy, as if she was just having fun out on the field, and I bet she is having fun, because winning, obviously, getting points, getting breaks, always a fun thing to do.
Yeah, everyone likes winning. It does tend to put a big smile on your face, but a timeout being taken by the teams here. We will take a brief moment of repose as well, but can GB bring this back trailing against Germany 10-5?
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
Germany women currently with a commanding lead, and Wagner looking very cool there, just rolling the disc around her finger, readying for the pull of this next point. We're seeing a couple of players crossing over from the O-line to stay warm out there, playing some defense.
Well, Germany has scored the last 4 points, and 3 of them were breaks, so it's a long pause for some of them.
Indeed, and we're delighted to have so many of you alongside watching us. If you're enjoying this game, feel free to hit that thumbs up button. Do you like this game, Christina?
Of course I do.
What else would you do if you want to make sure that...
I wouldn't be here if I didn't.
Well, GB needing to show their grit and determination here. We definitely know they can generate blocks and punch in breaks. But Brew overshooting Nat Oldfield. He's got a little bit of K-tape on that left knee.
And it does seem like GB was switched out to something else completely in terms of mentality. They took the time out to regroup, and it just didn't help at all.
Well, you've been saying it all weekend, Christina. Sometimes actually taking a moment to stop, whether that's on the field or anything. But I tell you what, that's a great stop on the far sideline. But Oldfield, bit of conservation of greatness, really fabulous positioning on defense. But Wagner trotting off. Thompson on the attack, but goes up high, and a fantastic read, Federica Wagner. Rika reeling in the score. The coach from last season joining the fold and ripping that one for a fifth point on the bounce for Germany women, but it is a 6-point margin, 11-5. Germany women are just stealing this game away, Christina.
Indeed. Just a bit lucky to get the overshoot and give it the Jinx teammate immediately putting it deep to Wagner. You can see her battling for position a little bit. 3 defenders around her, but such good body position from Wagner. No chance for anyone else to get near that disc.
So Germany women on a roll, clicking and humming. And I think that some of the younger players maybe on this GB roster being tested. Of course, they're all experienced athletes because GB a very mature ultimate playing nation. The squads are hotly contested. Full trial process. Decent amount of crossover from last season's roster, with a couple of extra personnel snatched away from the mixed division. But as we already mentioned, a couple of folks missing. Yorworth, well, Hill's now named Hulkyard. Took a shoulder injury yesterday, but a drop on the first swing pass. That seems to be symptomatic of GB right now. Even Kate Gibson making errors. Who's normally fierce and flawless as. Oh, but a miscommunication somewhere. Mona Shak just had to run to the completely free space to the right of her. And a little chilled dancing celebration.
Shek with another score. Müller picking up the lefty. Shown some of her skills today. Couldn't even believe Shek was so open, and the throw probably a bit harder than it would have had to be, but she was also quickly releasing that flick to get it to her before a defender could jump in between. 12-5. It's a pity to see GB crumble like that under pressure. And to be fair, Germany is a very intense opponent, but I would have thought GB had more in them, had more fight in them. We might still see it, but for now, it seems like they've dug themselves a hole and they're not coming out.
I think it's part of the nature of what we talked about earlier. These game slots are significantly shorter than you would have at a normal championship. It's just 1 hour of play, so I think it does change the mentality quite significantly for the players on the field, because you think, oh heck, okay, we've conceded a break, so we're going to have to get a break back to make sure that we're staying within it. And then once you start to have these breaks flow out and out and out, so we see Oldfield off to the deep space. What a beautiful throw that was from Hannah Brew, and that is more like it, folks. That is the Great Britain offense you're used to seeing.
Hannah Brew taking command of the offense, catching the disc and putting it out into space. on a platter. Directly 12-6.
Well, that's Oldfield doing what she does best. Started her playing career in the club scene with Bristol Women. Had a real breakout couple of seasons before making this GB women's roster. Wearing the number 11 that we're normally used to seeing on Hannah Yorwith, we've already mentioned. Unable to take the pitch at the moment, is just in recovery though. So GB readying themselves for a D point. We did have that drop on the first pass from Kate Gibson a few moments ago, but I'm sure that's old news now.
Play defense anyway.
Yeah, and it just shows that the coaches and team management are still thinking about the roster and just keeping people warm, keeping them engaged in the game, just flexing those lines when they need to, and also just throwing something else on the pitch and see what sticks. Charles, long time since we've seen all of the German O-line out together. Herkens matched up with Emily Hill. I love that as a match-up to watch. Two athletes coming through the juniors programs. Garnier going to have to lay it and just makes the bid but misses the moment. Kwok sending Liebert flying. Now Smith. GB looking to try and start the comeback train. Big fake from Emily Hill. Gives herself plenty of space to execute that one to Smith. That one's going to be way too high though. And Alex Benedict absolutely posterizes Sophie Rumpelt. Such a dynamic person to have on the field. But the bobble can't quite find the finesse from moments ago. And the crowd sighs in disappointment. They, like us, want to have the best game possible. Garnier to Liebert. Doesn't have a mark for quite some time, but in comes Gibson. Charles. High release, and Kate Gibson switches it on. Of course, only one Gibson sister currently active on the GB roster, but throws and a game of pinball for all the players on the pitch. Garnier now, if Hokens could turn around, perhaps.
I think the goal is to slow it down and maybe find a different option in Charles.
Now Liebert. It's going to turn and look for the reset. Has the initiation to Charles. Playing in so many triangles this offense, and there's a little scramble into the end zone for Anna Garnier. Well, it wasn't clean, but it did work out just fine. And this Germany O-line can be turned, but they are not getting broken.
We've seen these kind of troubles for the Germany O-line before early in the game. They've had a longer break, at least as a unit, as an O-line. But they've found their composure again, putting pressure on the offensive possession from the GB side as well, and getting the disc back twice. Some luck and a little bit of magic in there, but they'll take that.
So GB showing a little bit of ferocity, bit of fire, still able to make some plays and take some chunks out of this Germany O-line. But at the moment, there is not enough time in the world for GB to make a comeback, I think in probably most people's minds. But never say never, especially when you have these athletes out on the field. Of course, the tussle between your gold and silver medalists from last season. I'm sure we won't be seeing every single line in the playbook for either team at this early stage in the proceedings. You've got to hide a little something for later on. So we see Fonsail trying to grind away free. Hyde with a nice grab, almost tweezer-like. An extraction of the disc. Cauldron now taking the match up from Shuck.
I love that, the two of them battling it out.
Brew just gesturing that she wants folks to come towards her. Hunt slashing to the right. Big, expansive throw to Hannah Thompson, who's going to go for it. Love a bit of youth and energy. And Fansale with the last-minute grab for the goal. Wow.
Two bidding German defenders, and Van Schill keeps composure, knows she can't get the first effort, but goes around for the second one and lays out for it.
If you're a GB fan and you're watching this game, you might have had cause for concern and think, my goodness, if the opponent that you only lost to by 2 in a final last season has got this much margin on you this year, is this a problem? But I think the way that GB celebrated that score, really supporting each other, very vocal, great energy coming off of the team, I think that's definitely not a cause for concern.
No, I'd agree. They're back in it now. But it takes these heroic plays, it takes crazy stuff like that for a team to get back on the good side of the energy.
Well, it's just reminding themselves, you know, why they are this team, why they are representing their nation this season. Plays like that. But Fansale keeping it fun as the sun just disappears for a little while behind the clouds and cools things down. So Garnier, central field position, Liebelt, the two World Gamesers connecting. No continuation there, a little bit of hesitation from Volchak, but no hesitation from Garnier, who really attacks the disc and has to. Of course, once again taking that match up from Ellie Payne. Volchak, tambourine grab. Now Garnier, through to Liebelt. Oh, a little bit of a pace on that one. Garnier having to roll around to keep possession alive. Charles is there. That one's a little bit bumpy, but fine. Volchak trying to grind it through. Just trying to keep the disc alive and moving. It's becoming a little bit static, but that's going to be too low to be collected by Fiona Schluter. Now Benedict quickly picking up. GB trying to find some structure, but that might have been a little bit too hasty. They're going to try and convert these. Garnier now. Charles and Garnier were so dominant until Garnier took that injury last season. The addition of Volchak is only just an extra layer of greatness, but Lena von Stebut with the goal. And that will take us within our first match point here for Germany women, as time just about expiring.
So they're going to have so many tries. Hard cap to 15. We can hear it on the microphone near the speakers. And Van Stebut with the score there. She's probably one of the most reliable people on this German team. And I've never or barely seen her make a mistake. She's such a trusted handler, very good at defense as well. She just knows all the right ways to move and to help assist the more flashy names on the line. But such an important piece of the puzzle for Germany.
Yeah, she's kind of Lena von Stable rather than Lena von Stebut, if you get my my pun there. But I think this is actually a huge opportunity. If you're the GB coaching set, you say, well, actually, okay, yes, if the Germans score a singular point, this game is done. But what an opportunity to now test your mettle, to really see how much longer you can extend this game. Can you annoy the heck out of the Open Division and make them delay their final? Brew has Symington off towards the deep space. Chooses the underneath to Oldfield though, favouring some conservatism, because this is indeed a must score point. Brew switching from the deep space. Thompson getting a little bit of contact with Flora Scala, but this is really, really smart coverage from Great Britain, and they cause the short field turn.
Ingenanis with the hand block on the scuba attempt by Brew.
Yeah, maybe a little bit more communication and coordination needed to flood those poachers and abuse the switches. Müller and Forster. Now Wagner. They took it against GB last time on defence, did Germany women. This will be their first one for the D-line and only chance to take this game. Otherwise, it's just going to be their O-line. Wagner all the way across. Has Narhis with no coverage. GB doing some intelligent switching of their own, but that's going to open up the goal. And in the back line, Emma Falker will finish off. Well, it's a new champion here in Bruges for the women's division of Tom's Tourney. 2024 goes in favour of Germany women with an absolute annihilation, 15-7. And it was all about that second half, Christina.
Indeed, it looked like GB were off to the races early. They did look like the better team for the start of the game, but then Germany got their stuff together, evened out their offense, and you just see the way they've been working for years and years, building a team that is in contention for a medal at Worlds later in the season. Of course, a European medal always gives you that extra push. GB have a new goal to first win against the European rival, and then we'll see what happens in the future.
Well, there's a long time between now and September when they will take to the fields in the Gold Coast. Plenty of opportunities to just work this through and figure out what the adjustments are. But I think my biggest takeaway, Christina, is we'll have a look at the stats in a little while, but the amount of clean breaks that the D-line of Germany were able to achieve against GB. So some questions to be asked of how GB can recover in the event that there is a turnover later on in the season. But my oh my, that German D-line, ruthless.
I already said that for us earlier in the broadcast, but they did let their D-line play offensive points during this tournament here, and this is the exact time and place where something like this can work out for a team like Germany. You can see that just made the difference. 6 clean holds for GB women out of that is very good, and only 3 clean holds for Germany, but 8 breaks out of 10 break chances is also a very, very high percentage.
Yeah, we've got our full breakdown of the stacks. And yeah, the perfect conversions for the D-line of Germany, 75%. The perfect conversions for their O-line, 37%. So, and we didn't have any, of course, perfect conversions for GB women's D-line, but it's been an absolute pleasure to bring you this final here in the women's division in Bruges. But folks, we're going to put the final piece in the crown in the next game slot. It is going to be the open final between Moon catchers, the Brussels lads who just drove up from their beds last night, to BFD La Fotta, the Bolognese boys. So do not go anywhere, folks. It's been a pleasure to bring you this match for myself, Hannah Pendlebury, for Christina Obermeyer, all of our hard-working production crew under the sun here in Bruges. We will see you for the next one.
Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, ultimate.
ULTI.TV.